Hey all, good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
So the meeting starts at 9:30. Yeah, we thought at 9 o'clock.
Hello everyone. So actually, okay, perfect. So actually we will start our keynote 9:30 a.m. So if you can see in the displayed screen, our tracks will start 10 a.m. Okay. So those who want to continue in track one, they can stay in this link. Those who want to move to track two, they can go to track two links. But 9:30 we will start our keynote. Okay. Great, Vijay. Be free to discuss, because if you can see, it's our classmate session. So it's nothing like junior or senior. Okay, we are friends. So let's have a fun-filled day.
Hey, Goraknath. This is Sheikh.
Yeah, hi, Sek.
How are you? One question, like, why the tracks has been trained at the same time? If I want to attend some of the track, right, on the track two, some other session on track two, I will not be able to attend, right?
Yeah, I understand your concern, Sek. So basically, we also thought that way. But basically, what happened, if you think the time constant, right? People now tending to online, if you have more stretchable session, right? People also get frustrated. That's the reason we put it in this way. Those don't know at all, they want to learn from scratch. Track one is something those want to learn from start to end. Okay.
Okay.
If you notice, the track one session covers actually full syllabus. Okay, so
Correct.
they can join there, and those who have scenario specific information, they are already worked, they want to know something, definitely they can go to track two. So again, to answer your question, yes, you will get track one session information also, but that will be recorded. You will
Okay.
get, but it will take some time. That's why we recommend everyone to join the session, so that you will enjoy. You can answer the questions, you can win goodies and a lot of events. If you attend the last time event, it was really fun filled event. So stay tuned.
Okay.
So whichever you preferred most, you stay tuned there. Okay.
Okay.
The another session you will get the recorded after some time.
Understood. Understood. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Elizabeth will be joining in few minutes.
Hi, Dharni. Okay.
Hey, Galak. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of classmates already joined actually.
Yeah, she'll be there in few minutes. Just I dialed her. She's joining now. She's in front of the laptop.
Perfect.
Hey everyone, morning.
Hey, Presh. Good morning.
It's Jiva here. Good morning.
Hey, Jiva. Good morning.
Hey, Jiva, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Excited, huh? Pretty much for the day. So, do we have any guests waiting in the other track as well, or just all of us are here?
No, I just logged in to check. A few people were waiting over there. So I just asked them to join in this link.
Yeah. I think we'll also post a message in that second group with, like, please make note, something like that. We'll have one track, common track for the first keynote session. I think we mentioned in this post, but yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. We mentioned actually in the our post also we mentioned track 1 will
Yeah.
be key.
But it's also drop a
Yes.
that
Yeah.
second chat so that it's always there and pin it.
Correct. Absolutely. So that's good actually. We have people joined, before we all join actually I saw a lot of classmates already joined to us.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, yeah, this is Sheikh again. The calendar invite was saying at 9 o'clock, but now if I check, it is 9:30 a.m. I think that's the reason people joined at 9 o'clock.
Oh, calendar invite is saying 9 a.m. is it?
Yeah, correct. 9 to 5:30 p.m.
Oh, okay, that because to make it little bit more range, we added
Okay,
that
okay,
from
no problem.
everyone's convenient point of view.
Understood.
Yep.
Hello, everyone. We start in exactly 3 minutes.
I think Elizabeth is waiting in the lobby. Can you please someone admit her?
Dharani, actually, it's not asking any lobby to anyone actually. Can you ask her to try again?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Because it's lobby we passed already. No lobby, everyone can join.
Yeah, Elizabeth joined the meeting. Hi, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Hi,
Good
Elizabeth.
afternoon.
Hello. How is everyone?
Yeah, we are all good. Thanks, Elizabeth, for joining us
Thanks for having me.
in this weekend, actually. So,
No, that's great. Well done, everyone, for putting this together and everyone for attending as well. I think it's fantastic that you're all sharing knowledge and learning. I have a screen to share.
Sure.
Should we share it once it's kicked off?
Yes. Hi. Hi, Elizabeth. Precia.
Hello.
Hello.
How are
Hi.
you, Precious?
Doing good. Doing good. So let me just kick it off and I'll introduce everyone and also kick off the session for you. So it's 9:30 IST. I know it's a bit late for you, Elizabeth. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, based on wherever you're joining us from. Thank you for taking time out today on a Saturday and joining the Power Platform Classmates session 2. So today we have lined up amazing speakers to bring you a lot on Dynamics 365 and Power Platform to share with you all as classmates, not as formal speakers, really. So with that, today for our keynote session, we have Elizabeth Pappalardo, all the way from Australia. She's at Microsoft and she's the program community lead. And we are all pleased to have her now for the keynote session today. And again, to kick it off, I'll hand it over to Elizabeth. And from there on, we start with our lineup of sessions. Yeah. Over to you, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to switch screens if that's okay. So
Sure,
I'm going
yes.
to present. So it should be redirecting now. Maybe that didn't work. Let me try again. Present in Teams. Present. Okay, something's happening. It's loading. Let me know. Maybe you can give me a thumbs up if you
Yes.
can see it. Yes, perfect. Alrighty. Okay, so thank you so much for the lovely introduction. I've kind of skipped here. So, yes, so thank you so much. My name is Elizabeth Pappalardo. I work for Microsoft as the Community Program Manager, looking after communities. Yes, I'm based in Australia, but also in Southeast Asia as well. So I'm so excited to be here today. And it's great to be invited to today's keynote session for Power Platform classmates. And it's so cool to see you all join today, and congratulations on choosing to invest in your professional skills, because you're really taking up your weekend to be here. You're taking your own time to learn and to gain knowledge, so that you can be a better IT professional, essentially. And I think it's great that you have committed to the weekend to today's event. So and why I think it's such a great thing with what we're doing today, because you're ensuring that your skills are remaining competitive in the workforce. Your desire to learn and to invest in new skills will make you better at your craft, and also the networking opportunities as well. And you can certainly add value to the community, to your network, but also to your current or future employees as well. So we know that the workforce is constantly changing and it's evolving. And for businesses and professionals, there's definitely a shift to be more data centric and to make those data driven decisions, to adopt more ways of working more efficiently. So how do we get more automation into what we do as well? Even just generally understanding what our business tech stack can provide for us to, I guess, provide better outcomes for businesses, for our clients, for even our bosses as well, our employees. So when it comes to business applications such as Power Apps, Dynamics 365, etc., we see that there is definitely a demand for organizations for these skills. Everything that you're going to learn today, there is a huge demand. But the reality is there is not enough skilled professionals in these areas of expertise. And so that's why I think it's fantastic that you're here today, because that's a good problem for you, because you're going to be here to service that gap of skills in the workforce, and really help businesses achieve what they want to achieve using technology as well. So yes, there's definitely so much opportunity today. So I think it's fantastic, and that's why I'm really excited to be here. So I am by no means a technical person, and that's why we have amazing experts speaking throughout the day today. So you're going to be surrounded by extremely knowledgeable experts. They're technical leaders. Yeah, today's a great initiative. But I guess my goal, I guess, is to empower. I guess you've got the tools that you're going to learn today, the technical tools, and then that kind of complements what I want to sort of talk to you today, and that's putting on my marketing and my community background. I really want to tap into how, I guess, personal brand can really help you in your career journey as well. So we're learning those technical skills, and hopefully I can inspire you with some of those complementary skills that comes with developing yourself as an IT professional as well. So I might just give you some context. So that was me in 2008. This is my very first full-time job. I was working in the not-for-profit sector in humanitarian. So Caritas was the charity that I was working for, and I absolutely loved it. I studied marketing and event management, and I was in the fundraising team. And for many years, I really struggled to sort of get outside of the charity sector. And I've been in the industry maybe now for 13 or 14 years, and it was only really, I guess, making the transition to Microsoft. Before I did that transition, I really understood maybe I'm just not portraying myself the way that others are perceiving me. And what I mean by that is it's how I articulate my experience or how I make my skills transferable from a not-for-profit sector to a tech industry. Or it's just even like how my CV looks as well and how it's been presented. So I've been working at Microsoft now for since February this year, so about 5 months. But I really started my journey with Microsoft and that recruiting process in about November, I believe it was. So before November, I was kind of really tapping into the idea of personal brand and how I could really position myself into the next stage of the career of my career journey that I really wanted to be in. And make me more desirable to the dream organizations or the next role that I really wanted. So that's why personal brand is super important. And I feel like it was too late for me to realize. I wish I had started earlier on that journey, but I'm so grateful that I went through that process because I'm doing the job that I have now. I get to work with communities doing really, really great things like today. Yeah, I'm so grateful for where I am. So yeah, so today's session that I'm going to really touch on is really around the power of personal brand and really the need to be our own cheerleaders. How can we do that? And why is it important that we are our own cheerleaders and we learn to leverage our strengths and how we can communicate that to others? Because how we perceive ourselves, we want others to perceive that as well and know that we're right for the job. So when it comes to personal brand, I guess I'm going to throw out some famous names and maybe just think in your head, like, what's the first thing that you think of when you hear these people's names? So for example, we've got Oprah Winfrey. So she's created a personal brand. We know her as someone who's extremely kind-hearted, who cares, who's a bit of a deep thinker and associates herself with really, really good causes. And that's something that she's built up over the years as a TV personality, a journalist, an author, and all those types of things. So that's sort of how she's portrayed to others and how we perceive her. Elon Musk. We know him as, we might think of Tesla, we might think of his brands that he's associated with, or maybe recently what's happening with Twitter. But he's really known, I guess, as a leader in tech for our generation. So personal brand really just doesn't belong to celebrities, politicians, and actors. It's also important that we take that on for ourselves in our professional career. So what is personal brand? There's a really great marketer. Forbes describes him as the top 10 marketers in the world. His name is Neil Patel, and he describes personal brand as the process of intentionally creating and influencing the public perception of an individual. So that could be yourself. And this is done by positioning yourself as an authority in an industry or differentiating yourself from the competition and increasing the reputation. So that's really the goal of personal brand is intentionally how you present yourself to others, and that will allow them to perceive you as an individual the way that you want to be perceived, as that authority in tech or in a particular niche. In this case, maybe the suite of business applications, or maybe a certain area as well in tech. So yeah, that's really the definition of personal brand. And why is it important? Having, I guess, a clear public personal brand means that you have strong recognition for something, and you own it. So it's establishing yourself as an expert, and not just establishing yourself as an expert, but as an expert in your space, and you're really aligning yourself with business goals or skills that others are really looking at as well. having a professional and well-known brand can improve your chances of getting new businesses. So it could be your customers, it could be even new clients with your company as well that you work for. And then through that, you're kind of building trust, you're building an authority, and you're showing a commitment to your community. And it really just sort of levels you up, I guess, in that space. So there is a lot of power in investing in your personal brand, and you're doing all the work now. So coming to today's session and learning your skills, or getting certified, things like that, that's all building your brand. And what your job is then to do is kind of tell that story as well. So even individuals need to develop brands for themselves, and whatever area of expertise you're in, you can take the steps to make people think of you when they think of your field of work. So how do we do that? We really need to put ourselves out there, and we need to do the work as well. And sometimes it can be overwhelming, but I recommend just start with small steps, and you can tweak as you go along. And I feel like this was a process that I went through for a while as well for myself, and we're constantly evolving as well. We might find areas that we're interested in, or new areas that we want to become experts in. So it's really how we tell our story. But I'm going to give some tips today around how maybe you can think about how to leverage personal brand. But I think for me, how I started was I did a lot of like podcasting, or just going on YouTube and just Googling topics, and just finding keywords like personal brand and how to tell your own story, things like that, to really help me refine how I want to be perceived. And it's a journey as well. So how to increase your personal brand and build that credibility. And I think one area is through community. So I went to an event on Thursday night. So I'm part of an industry association called Australian Computer Society, ACS. And it's a big network in Australia of IT professionals. And it was really great because I got to go there and listen to the event that was on. And then we had networking afterwards, and through that networking, I was able to meet more people. They even did some posts on LinkedIn, and they're tagging me. And through that, they're kind of networking and building themselves through their community as well. Online forums and contributing to if there's people who have questions, or even groups, like you've got like LinkedIn groups, you've got groups on Facebook, but then you've got the Microsoft forums as well. Engaging with that, and there's a lot of people in my community who are quite big in the forum world, and they now have people going to them directly, asking them questions because they see them so frequently on the forums. And when they have their answer forums, they've got their website or their contact details at the bottom. So it's leveraging their presence in the community, and they're being seen as that authority. So yeah, other ways you can really leverage your brand is through personal website or social channels. So you can be writing blogs. Obviously, social channels, you've got LinkedIn, or you might do special videos on YouTube, for example, or you might want to, I don't know, maybe you're really into like, I don't know, talking. So maybe it's through a podcast, or you've got a couple of friends that love having technical chats or breaking things down, and you might do podcasts or something like that. So there's so many ways that you could really put content out there to really leverage your brand. And when employees are looking at you, or if you want to be seen within the community, these are some really great ways to be seen. You can volunteer as well. I've got other people in the community that might do like coding camps or training sessions as well. Even our lovely organisers for today, they're all volunteers, and our speakers too, sorry. So that's just some ways as well that you can add value and contribute to the community and really leverage your brand and the industry that you're in. So another way that I think is really important is obviously your CV. I know that a recruiter reads a new CV every 30 seconds. That's a lot of CVs, right? And so if you're ever going through that recruitment process or you're applying for jobs, I really think it's important that you stand out from the competition and you really showcase your strengths, which I've got written there. And what I was giving advice, so when I went to that networking event a few nights ago, earlier this week, I was speaking to a graduate and she was asking me like, how do I get my, first job? Everyone says that you need 1 year experience, but I don't have experience, and I love too many areas. I love cloud, I love data, and there was another area as well that she loved. And so I said to her, I think that's great that you've got a lot of passion areas and you're very versatile, and you're open to exploring different opportunities. And I suggested her that she might have like 3 different versions of her resume, for example. So a cloud-focused CV and then a data-focused CV. And you're leveraging your strengths, and it's how you tell your story and how you sell yourself through your CV and through your achievements as well, that you could really level up that branding or that perception when recruiters are going through your CV. So like I suggested, like have multiple resumes, and you don't need to tweak them all the time, but have like the themed resumes and use words that you see in the like job description, for example, and make sure they're in your CV. Another way to really showcase your I guess how they perceive you, a recruiter, is listing your education history, but going for certifications, showcasing your volunteer work, showing your the work that you like to do in your spare time as well, and that really helps build that picture of who you are as a IT professional as well. So I think all that's super important. And I think another one in this digital age is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an important piece of real estate for your personal brand. And I know recruiters, I know with many jobs you can apply directly through LinkedIn even, so you don't even need a CV anymore. So if there's any takeaways from today or from this session, I think first thing you should do is level up your LinkedIn profile. And it's basic things like having a headshot, having an updated one. And I know our smartphones these days, you can take really good photos with a smartphone on portrait mode. Or you can sign up to Canva and you can cut the background out of your photo as well. So I think just investing in like creating a really just ultimate LinkedIn profile is super important as well. There's an opportunity for a bio, and that's a really cool place to tell a story as well and introduce yourself. So leverage that space too. And I know for me, since sort of starting Microsoft, I really want to understand more. I really want to learn more, and my personal goal is to do more certifications. So like the basic Azure certifications, or I guess I'm so curious at the moment. I just want to learn different areas what Microsoft offers as their products and services. So my goal is to really invest in the next 12 months on certifications and seeing what I can do to just give myself a bit more knowledge and be authentic to that, so that when others, when I'm able to talk to others, I'm really able to relate to what they're referring to, but then also aligns with sort of I'm talking to the community. So having those certifications, I think, is a good way to relate and to be able to share that knowledge as well. Community contributions, showcase that on your LinkedIn too. So if you're doing volunteering, things like that. And yeah, contribute to discussions and create content, create posts, tag your colleagues or your friends and peers. Even in today's session, tag the speakers. Take a screenshot, maybe if it's if you can, if the speaker allows you to, take the screenshot. You know, share with your network on LinkedIn that you're taking the time to really learn today and to improve yourself as a professional and your IT skills. And that really creates really good discussion. And a tip is, when you attend maybe professional development events, or I think someone's in control of my presentation. Request control. I'm just going to request control, if that's okay, just so I can keep moving along the slides. I think I might have to reshare. Yeah, so with LinkedIn, or when you're creating a post, my suggestion is like sharing like your 3 top tips that you've learned from that event or that reflection that you want to share. So yeah, just really showcasing that knowledge, and people will interact and people will yeah, respond. And I think that's a really cool way to start discussion, and also just getting your brand on people's news feeds as well, getting your name out there as well. So that was on LinkedIn. And make sure, if you do post from today, make sure you hashtag Power Platforms Classmates 2022. I think that's a hashtag for today's session. Okay, so I've reshared my screen. I'm hoping everyone can see it. But this kind of brings me now to so we've kind of talked about personal brand and the importance of personal brand, and ways that you can leverage you can really put yourself out there and leverage the idea of personal brand on online platforms, offline platforms as well. And this kind of feeds into a program that I look after in Microsoft, and it's our Most Valued Professional Award program. And most of our speakers and our event organisers today are MVPs. And I really just wanted you to just take some time just to explain this program, because for starters, you're in really good hands today, because our MVPs are technology experts and community leaders. And they've been recognised for the wonderful work that they do in the community. Everything they do is volunteer-based. And they're basically, I guess, as technical leaders, they've received that recognition, and they've gotten that title. They've built that up themselves, but essentially it's through personal branding. And what are they doing? Exactly kind of what I just explained previously. They're they're sharing knowledge through blog writing. They're mentoring. They're organizing events like this for the community. So it's by the community for the community. They're just really passionate about technology, and they're just sharing that where they can. And that's just one, I guess, personal brand fits into that, right? And they're not doing this for an award. It's really for the community spirit and the love of what they do. But personal brand, when you put your marketing hat on, like I do, that's ultimately what they're doing. They're increasing their personal brand. And I guess a product of that is that they're being recognized by Microsoft for the really great work that they're doing, which is for, I guess, ultimately for the community. So I guess as well, I just wanted to put it out there. If you're producing content for the community. If you're already doing these things and you're really adding value and making significant impacts to the community or to individuals, and you're doing these things already, or maybe it's maybe you're on the way to do it, or you're thinking about how can I start. But I guess look up to your MVPs. They're great people to know in your community as well. And if you do ever want to have a chat around the MVP program and how to be recognized, if you are doing really great things and you want to be recognized for your great work, feel free to contact me. Maybe when I finish chatting, I'll put my email in the chat, or maybe one of the event organizers can do it. But I've got a link here on this slide, and hopefully it's a live link. I think you should be able to click on it, but that's more information on the MVP program. And basically we recognize community contributors in various different categories, not just in this particular area, but across different Microsoft products and services. And it's based on your 12 months worth of community contributions as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you want to have a chat about the MVP program. I know our MVPs that are involved in today's sessions and event organizers, they're more than happy to have a chat with you as well about the program and what it's like to be part of it. But yeah, that's just sort of something to inspire you as well. So I just wanted to leave just with, I guess, some inspiration. We all like a quote. So I said, this is from George Bernard Shaw. Life isn't about finding yourself. It's about, life is about creating yourself. So really, I know it can be overwhelming putting yourself out there, and even from a time perspective, we've got family, we've got work, but I think it's really important to invest in our professional development. And I think it's also important to be our own cheerleaders. And whilst that can be daunting at times, it really helps to showcase what we are capable of doing to others, because it can really help us in our career. So thank you very much. I think that's it from me. I'm not sure if there's any questions. I've got a minute to go. I'm happy to answer if there's any questions. I'll open the chat.
Hi,
I think
Elizabeth.
that's it. Hey, Golnath.
Yeah, hi.
Hey.
I think Priyesh,
Yep. Hi, can you
are
hear
you
me?
there?
Yep.
Okay, over to you.
All right. Yes, thank you, Elizabeth. That was really insightful, and it kind of validated what everyone of us is doing. Everyone from the community and even all amongst people who are our attendees today, they're also sort of advocates for Microsoft technologies as well. So again, that was very insightful. Thank you for, sparing time today to talk to us about how valuable it is for the community and contribution. So if all the organizers can just turn on their camera, we'll have a screenshot session to put it up on LinkedIn and Twitter. Just a moment to kick off our wonderful 2 tracks. So, all right, Yash, Ritika, you there in the call?
Is someone doing the screenshot?
I will
Yeah,
say actually maybe before that, if any classmates also want to turn on
Yes,
their camera, that will be great. We will take in the gallery mode. So,
yes, absolutely.
yeah. So anybody want to turn on their camera, they are free to do that. So that photo, who is taking that gallery mode photo? Okay, perfect. Yeah, hi
Yeah.
Henry, I can see. So
Tell us when you're taking it. Make
yeah,
sure I'm smiling.
actually I'm checking except organizers who are outsiders join. Feel free to turn on their your camera. Actually, it's absolutely great. It's like we are together mode.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see Avijit. Great. Kesh, wait for
All
another
right.
30 seconds, huh? Then we will move
Yes.
that. Then Priyesh, maybe you want to slide
Yes.
this
Yeah,
slide
I will.
once this is done for
Yes.
the breakup. Yep. Okay. I think
All right. Last 10 seconds.
Is it going to be shared in the chat?
yeah, it will come.
Fantastic.
Eventually. It will come in social media as well. So okay, I think we are done. Thank you everyone for joining this session, and thanks Elizabeth for the really inspiring
Thank you.
keynote, so that everyone will get something to know. Yeah, so that is really great. And actually, maybe Priyesh, you want to
Yes.
share the screen for the split and thanks note to
Sure.
Elizabeth? Yep.
All right. So I've shared my screen. Hope everyone can see.
Yeah.
So thank you, Elizabeth, for your time today. It was great to connect with you and start off our both the tracks with an important message in mind about networking, if I have to put it in one words. So again, for of all our attendees today, all our students, we have two tracks lined up for the day. Track one will just kick off by Nanddeep, followed by Ritika, and then we also have Venkata and Yash presenting in track one. And further, in track one, we have Clevin and Aru, who will be presenting on Power BI and Power Virtual Agents. Then track two, which will also simultaneously start right now. Ethan, he's our first speaker, and he'll have a 5 minutes buffer, of course, for all of you to move over to track two, followed by Sumaira. And later on, we'll have more sessions on Power Apps and securing Azure functions by Vidit and Amit, respectively. And finally, before we wrap up, Girijesh will be presenting on Power Apps portals. So I hope you do already have links to track two. We'll paste it again in the chat. We have about 2 to 3 minutes of buffer again for everyone who's interested in track two to move over there. Rest of the other attendees interested in track one can stay back here. And I will let our first speaker, Nanddeep, start on this track in a couple of minutes, and Ethan can also start on the other track and the other link. So again, wish you all a very good day ahead of learning, and we will connect again soon for the quiz rounds. Thank you.
So Avijit, I saw your question and regarding recordings. Recordings actually we will share, but I will not recommend to wait for the recording. So be attentive in the session. So recording, definitely it will be there, but it may take 2 months, 3 months. We cannot comment. Okay.
Yeah, no, I was talking about like if I joining track two and I want to know about the track one. So that is the
Absolutely,
reason I
absolutely.
have
You
asked.
will get you
Yeah.
will get the recording. Not a problem.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Hi, Gonaklag, Nanddeep here. Meanwhile, can I start sharing my screen?
Sure,
Just
sure.
wanted to check that at least everything goes well. Hope you can hear
Sure,
me
sure.
okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I won't be
Yeah, we
able to
can.
turn on camera, bit under the weather. But okay. Hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, we
Yeah,
can see your
right.
screen. Yes.
Great.
So I
Right.
think Priyesh
Uh,
is your guide throughout the
yeah, sure.
session.
All right.
Priyesh, over to
Yeah,
you.
thanks, Priyesh. So, Priyesh, do you
Sure.
see my slides moving? Now that I have
Yes.
open up the Power
Yes,
Apps
absolutely.
admin center. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Great. All right. So just let me know when to start. Thank you.
I think Priyesh, we will start shortly, right? Because
Yeah, we'll
there'll be
start in
time.
2 minutes for Nanddeep,
Yeah, yeah.
and others can go on to track two if they need.
Oh, stay at track one. Otherwise, you will miss out on my session.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, you can start in a minute, Nanddeep, and hopefully you're able to adjust the buffer as well.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, sure. I'll leave it to you, and you can then start in a minute. Okay.
Yeah, sure. All right. No problem. Okay, so
Thanks,
it's
Nanddeep.
10:07 here. I will just start at 10:08. Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Great. Thanks. All right, so at least for everyone means I don't have two screens, but if you have got any questions and any queries during the session, feel free to put that in the chat window, and I will definitely answer it after my session. Yeah. All right, so I think we can get started. So hello all, good morning and welcome to Power Platform classmates. And this is a track one wherein we will be going to discuss more about a certification focus PL 900 things. Okay, so now that I will be starting with Power Apps, and then eventually we will cover the other aspect of Power Platform as well. Okay, so before we start the session, myself Nanddeep Nachan, I'm Microsoft 365 Apps and Services MVP, Microsoft Certified Trainer, author of couple of books on SharePoint framework as well as SharePoint Hybrid with SharePoint 2019. And on to the right hand side, here are few of the social media handles to get in touch with me. So what we are going to cover in this session that we will learn about what are the value that Power Apps bring in. At the same time, what are the capabilities that are offered by Power Apps, and then we will leverage it to build simple kind of an applications for our business. Right. So this is the agenda that we have got. We will get introduced to Power Apps, and then we will start building some kind of an Canvas app. And then in the following session, we will concentrate on the model-driven apps and other aspect as well. Okay, so let's get started. Let us see what is mean by Power Apps. So Power Apps is basically used to build apps which will allow you to take action on your data. So your data can be anywhere. It could be in the Dataverse, which is a native platform for Power Platform, or it could be in SharePoint, it could be in SQL Server, or it could be anywhere. But this Power Platform will help you to take action on your data so that you can build visuals top of on top of it, and then you will be able to build your applications. So this Power Apps is a great for replacing maybe any kind of an paper forms that you have in your organizations, at your company, or any kind of a legacy solutions, or just kind of a spreadsheet that you and your coworkers which you pass around. So for all those kind of an manual work, Power Apps is a great replacing solution. So using the skills and knowledge which you already have, you can build the apps to interact with existing data. And again, you can use more than 600 kind of an connectors that we have got in Power Apps. So once you build on the web this native Power Apps platform, and these apps are live in the cloud, it can be easily shared and it can run on a variety of other platforms, including PCs, laptop, tablets, or even on your mobile phone, right? So we will cover that shortly. So what we will see, we will see like how to get started with this Power Apps, and then what kind of a business value it creates. We will go through one kind of a case study here, which is for one of the famous airport, and then we will see the Power Apps in action by creating some kind of an Power Apps app, and we will learn few of the options for making your first app. So if in case you haven't yet created your first Power Apps app, probably this is the time when we will get started and start creating that. All right. So if you have any kind of an inefficient or legacy business process that needs to be modernized, then in that case, this low code or no code kind of an platform, which is Power Apps, will help you to build those kind of an apps. Again, for example, if you want to be able to perform business processes for different devices like PCs or mobile phones, then obviously Power Apps will help you. So simply Power Apps is a low code or no code kind of a platform for building apps, which builds of the concept similar to the formulas that we have in Excel workbook. For example, in Excel, you can use sum, text, all those kind of formulas. Similarly, that concept is applicable for Power Apps. And then you can use Power Apps to build simple solutions like maybe vehicle inspection form or maybe a status report or any kind of an complex business solutions, maybe for purchase process, inventory management. All those kind of an apps can be easily built with Power Apps. And if you can envision an app to solve a business problem, then you can use your existing skills to build it. Although we will be mostly focusing or gearing towards the business users with a little background for computer science, coding. So these Power Apps will offer you the advanced kind of an functionality and kind of an ability for seasoned developers to design complex application with very easily. Okay, so second thing is you can work with your data wherever it lives, right? So as I said, you will be able to use the connectors that we have in Power Apps or at least in Power Platform in general. So with those 600 plus kind of an connectors, wherever your data is, you will be able to connect to that. So using those connectors, you can easily connect to data using any kind of an underlying data service as well as any kind of an app platform, maybe Microsoft Dataverse or even any kind of a multitude of online as well as on-premises data sources that you have. You will be able to get connected to that data and start building your apps. So again, a few of the common examples of these data sources are like you can use Dataverse, you can probably use SharePoint, Dynamic 365, SQL Server, or maybe Azure SQL, as well as any of the apps or service inside Office 365. So with all of the connectors which are available in Power Apps, you should be able to get connected to those and perform operations against your data by creating the nice looking forms. So again, you don't just have to choose just one data source. Power Apps has got ability which easily supports multiple data connections, which allow you to bring data together from many platforms into a single app. So we are not limited to just connect to one data source from one app. We can connect to multiple data sources and then create the nice interactive kind of an Power Apps app. Then again, what are those different types of Power Apps that we have for different scenarios? So using Power Apps, we can create at least three types of app. So first one is a Canvas app, then we have model driven apps, and then we have got portals or those pages, and then each is suited for a different business scenarios as well as different end users. And then throughout these sessions, we will be covering those kind of scenarios. Another important thing here is Power Apps is not just about manipulating the data, but at the same time you can add or it offers basically any kind of an AI or artificial intelligence to your app with no code requirement. So you don't have to write any code for that, but it built-in provides those kind of an abilities. So if you think of the era prior to the Power Apps, means adding functionality such as maybe image recognition or any kind of an prediction model, it required advanced kind of an computer knowledge, and then there was a code to be written, data models to be designed. We had to train those models, and then again there was a whole lot of complicated logic that was involved for that. But Power Apps bring the artificial intelligence by providing any kind of an wizard based interface for building and training your model. And with this, it unlocks the power of even Azure machine learning or cognitive services without you to write a single line of code or maybe creating any kind of an complex machine learning models. So that kind of easiness is offered by Power Apps. And again, it is kind of an ready to use AI component. For example, we have example of business card reader. So this component reviews any kind of an uploaded photo or a picture taken to determine if it is a business card, and then again it extracts out the relevant information from them. So A business card can be of any format, but still it can go ahead, extract out the information like the name of the person, designation of the person, his company, address, phone number, all those kind of thing by default. So again, for that, you don't have to write any code. At the same time, you don't need any complex configurations to do those things. And then again, just to talk more about those AI models that we have got, I guess as of now we still have four AI models which are available in Power Apps. So first one is a prediction kind of a model. So this model just predicts whether something will happen or something will not happen based on the previous data history. So for example, just looking at that history, you will be able to know that the customer whether he will purchase the product or he might not do that. And then again, we have another AI model called as a form processor. So this will simply extract out the text from the image, maybe like a business card reader. Then we have object detector. So this model will identify the object from any kind of an uploaded image or any kind of an photo taken, and then it will provide the count of the number of objects which is present in that photo. So let's say, for example, if you're working for a machinery kind of a thing, and you can just take a photo and Power Apps will help you to use the object detection on top of it to identify how many number of screws we have got, how many number of other objects that we have got there. And then again, lastly, we also have got something called as text classification. So this will help you to categorize the text by its meaning and making it very much easy to analyze all of the text that we have got over there. All right. So then again, Canvas app, they are again a great option whenever you want to build the apps from a blank canvas. So you can start with a blank canvas to drag and drop whatever kind of an controls you want to place on that and then start building your app. So you can also start by using the screen size. So to what kind of an target device you want to build this app for. So you can choose either a tablet or a mobile, and then you will have a blank screen from which you want to build those app from scratch. The other thing is like from here, you can also interact with data in your app by adding multiple data sources. So again, as I said, we are not just limited to add only one data source per app. So that means we are not just limited to maybe only connect to SharePoint and get the data from SharePoint into Power Apps, but in the same Power Apps app, we'll be able to maybe connect to the other data sources as well, bring in the relevant information, and then we will be able to build those beautiful apps. Simplicity of Power Apps lies in the drag and drop kind of an control. So we can just simply drag drop various controls that we have got. Maybe those controls only for displaying the data or accepting the data from the user, and then using those kind of an controls, we can develop any kind of a desired functionality, maybe writing the Excel style of an formula. So for example, if you have worked with Excel, if you know how the formulas work in Excel, then you are pretty much comfortable to create the Canvas app or at least any of the application in Power Platform. So this Canvas app will just provide you those complete flexibility whenever you are building app. So start with any size of the app, start with any of the data source, and then maybe build your functions, and then it will help you to create your Canvas app. Okay, and then on to the right hand side, here are few of the images of how the Canvas app looks like as an example when it is available onto the mobile, right? Okay, so let us continue our discussion something onto the security and administration kind of and features which are offered by Power Apps. Okay, because whenever we are talking about any of the application or any of the area of that specific application, definitely security and administration are the major concerns or the major topic of discussion to explore it more. So let's talk about security and administration first. So Power Apps has got a multitude of security, governance, and reporting capabilities to let you manage all of your apps that you develop. And then again, to manage the security for your Power Apps, you can access a portal which is called as the Power Apps admin portal, which will something look like this. And in this portal, you'll be able to find options for creating and managing all of your environments. At the same time, monitoring your licenses, working with any of the data loss prevention policies or DLP policies, managing all of your data integration projects. And this one will simply allow you to manage the Power Apps throughout your tenant from one single place. Okay, so from here you'll be able to entirely do that part. Again, there is another thing which is available for you is called as Center of Excellence or COE kind of a starter kit. So that COE starter kit is kind of a collection of components or tools which are specifically designed to help you get started with developing strategy for adopting as well as supporting these Power Platform kind of solutions. And the complete focus is on Power Apps and Power Automate. So you can just explore that Center of Excellence, which will help you to have security as well as governance aspect for all of the apps that you have created in your tenant. Then Power Apps also has its own set of PowerShell commands as well. So that means we do have specific module which the app creators as well as administrators, developers, they can use, and which allows you to automate many of your administrative kind of duties. So a common use case of PowerShell commanded is to maybe automate discovery and permission management of all of the apps that you have in the tenant, and then probably allow you to better understand, manage all those apps that they are creating as well as spread throughout your company. So for those kind of a business automation, you can simply go ahead and use PowerShell. Okay, so those are kind of an higher level of security and administration kind of an aspect. So let us talk about what kind of an business values are being driven through Power Apps. So Power Apps does not require any kind of an code, maybe the code that we have been writing so far with C# or .NET kind of an languages. So making a low technology barrier to the entry point of any of the application. So if you know the business process, you can get started writing your first app. And then for many businesses, this means app are not coming from the IT, but maybe instead they are directly coming from the frontline business users. And the same way, the finance can build their own Excel workbooks today. They can build their own Power Apps. Okay, so that will give them easiness, and then they will be able to build those apps at a higher organization level. Again, these Power Apps allow even most entry level users to reduce any kind of an paperwork that they have been doing so far. So that means they can increase the process efficiency, and then they can ensure that single source of truth by combining multiple data sources into one app. And then these users can build this app with easiness while staying within the guardrails which are set by your IT department. And Power Apps will also allow you to have any kind of an unprecedented kind of an amount of innovation and digitization, which will eliminate any kind of an app backlog or any kind of an cumbersome paper solution processes, and then it can offer you more to drive those kind of a thing. But with this background, maybe let's have a look at another thing, which is a customer study for the Heathrow Airport. So Heathrow Airport is one of the world's business airport, and sorry, one of the busiest airport, and then it models a small city in complexity and traffic. So with over almost 76,000 of people working on a given day and almost 200,000 travelers passing through every day through that airport, there is a strong need to continually optimize the operations. And one way to accomplish this goal is through digitization all of your processes. And then part of that effort included maybe adoption of Microsoft 365 for all of the employees, and then later the use of Power Apps. So this is the story behind Heathrow Airport, how they transitioned into using digital technologies and specifically into the Office 365 and Power Apps. So at the Heathrow Airport, they have attacked the process of digital transformation by empowering all of their frontline workers to build app and then solve their problem on their own. So this kind of a revolution began with a gentleman called as Samit Saini, who decided to show that means what kind of an functionality can be accomplished with Power Apps. So Samit Saini is again kind of an inspiration for many. So he began developing an app that held security kind of an information translated into dozens of different languages. So previous to this entire security kind of information was kept in a book which was located at some of the security checkpoint physically, and then Saini set out to improve this kind of an experience. And then from the success of that first app, there are now maybe dozens of apps that they are using day in day out to have the official process for creating and implementing their business. Okay, so this is a nice story. There is a video of this also available on YouTube. So just go ahead and try to learn this story of Samit Saini. So he was earlier started his career as a security worker, but then turned himself into an app maker. So inspiring story. I will encourage everyone to go through that. So this is the official case that has been put up by Microsoft about the Heathrow Airport. So you will learn that tremendous business value that has been created by enabling all of your frontline workers to build those apps using Power Apps. So on their own, they will be able to learn the technology and they will be able to solve their business on our own. So very interesting story, very inspiring story. Go through it whenever you will get time. All right, so let us see like then what is PowerShell in a nutshell. Just to summarize, like Microsoft PowerShell, sorry, Microsoft Power Apps will allow all of your users of any kind of a technical level that they have to improve the business processes. And then this kind of an apps are built using your existing skills and knowledge that you have without writing any kind of a traditionally managed code that we may write with PowerShell or C# kind of a thing. And then these apps will offer the ability to create highly flexible solution built for different devices. And then again, you can consume data from various data sources that we have into the existence. And then now that you have reviewed this kind of a thing, so with this means we'll be able to build nice app using Canvas app, maybe model driven apps as well as the portal apps. So simply, Power Apps is a no code or low code kind of a platform which will allow you to build apps with your business knowledge, existing skills. It has got different offerings for you to meet your own needs. And then it will help you to build and deploy customized app that works across web, mobile, or any kind of an standalone device as well. So you will be able to build those apps by following your own business processes instead of making your business process follow the software kind of an infrastructure that we have, right? So with that, let us go and see like how we'll be able to build those kind of an power apps. Okay, so we will have some kind of an walkthrough and then we will create maybe a couple of power apps app here. So before that, just wanted to go and maybe understand like what kind of things that we have here. So we will what we will do is we will just learn few basic elements of Power Apps. We will go ahead and then build one Canvas app by consuming the data from Excel, which is stored in a OneDrive. We will customize few of the elements of the app, and then we will configure and manage any kind of an app settings that we have. But before that, let's have a quick look at what are those basic elements that we have. So Power Apps has got different components to build solutions, including screens that we have, inputs, galleries, forms, and many other controls. So on the screen that you see that we have various controls, and then we will go through this kind of an important controls in detail in the subsequent slides. So we do have this Power App Studio from where we'll be able to build that app. We do have an app format. That means we can decide, do we want to create an app for mobile or a tablet? We do have galleries, which will help you to directly define your data in a tabular kind of an format, not exactly tabular, but a gallery kind of an format. Then we do have forms to display details of that specific kind of a table rows. Then we do have input controls to accept the inputs from customers or from your end users. Then we do have intelligent controls, which will allow you to build the advanced capabilities which those rich controls. For example, image kind of an control through which you can take a picture, it can analyze the picture, and then lastly, all those functions. So those are very much similar to all of the functions that you have been using with Excel, but we'll be able to use those functions to carry out any kind of a business logic. All right, so firstly, let us have a look at the Power App Studio before we go ahead and then create the app. So for that reason, if you go into the make.powerapps.com, so make.powerapps.com will always be your entry point whenever you want to create a Power Apps app. So this Power App Studio is the name of the web interface that you use to build your app. So with Power Apps, there is no client that we need to download or install for building any kind of an app. It is a internet facing kind of an interface, and then everything can be done on the browser itself by going to this special URL called as make.powerapps.com. So this web studio is kind of an authoring experience for creating the Power Apps, and then it is kind of an only recommended way to build your apps. Then we do have a few app format as well. So this one will be your first step while you're creating the app, and then choose the format of your app. So here you can choose either you want to go ahead with mobile or tablet kind of an app. Again, while both the formats can be used interchangeably on mobile device or a tablet or onto a computer, but each has got a different default around the settings of the screens or the controls. And once you choose that format for the app, you cannot go back and change it. Okay, so it is very much critical that you should analyze against which device you want to create those and then start with that. So that is something about app format. Then these are the gallery kind of an controls that we have got. So galleries, that means it is a control that is used to display rows from the table of data that you have from your data source. So this displays the row, or we can call it as a record now. uh, it is then defined by the template that is offered by the gallery, which you can customize to meet your business needs. And this can allow you to control which columns can be shown, which can be formatted again. And then again, this Power Apps will then apply this template automatically to every row in your data. So this one is nothing but just the gallery control. Then below that, we do have few forms as well. So forms are focused on working with a specific table row, which is often based on the specific selection form from your gallery. So in this kind of an form experience, user can browse to a gallery to find and select any kind of a desired row, which is displaying the details on that form. So these forms will enable users not only just to view that kind of a detailed information, but from there they will be also able to save new rows or edit any kind of an existing rows into the existing data source. So the various actions that can be performed with forms are controlled by form modes, which will allow the form to serve in many purposes. So we do have few modes like browse screen, through which we'll be able to see all the records that we have got. We have a detail screen through which we'll be able to go into the depth of a single record, get more details. And then we do have an edit screen from where we will be able to edit the record and then save back to the data source. Then we do have few input controls as well. So these input controls will allow you to have a maximum flexibility in customizing your app. So again, Power Apps has got large selection of the input controls, including text inputs, button, drop downs, maybe toggles, date pickers, sliders, and then you can add this kind of an controls to galleries, form, and screens to build any kind of an functional experience for your app. And then all inputs have a multitude of settings for your default data, as well as it offers various formatting as well as actions that can help you to build the app that has got right kind of an user experience to build their own business processes. These are few of the intelligent controls that can be used in Power Apps. So Power Apps provide rich set of controls for more advanced kind of an operations. So these are basically hardware-based kind of an control which allow access to the camera or maybe to the app code scanner or could be to the GPS and any of the other hardware related features. So these are also service backed kind of an controls like business card reader or object detector, which will allow you to add any kind of an artificial intelligence to your app, again without writing any kind of an code. Okay, and then we will go into building our own canvas now. So what we'll do is we will generate the canvas app where the data source. Sorry, I will request everyone to be on mute, please, if there is no question. So we will generate the Canvas app where the data source is Microsoft Excel workbook. And then just to have it easiness, I have stored that workbook onto my OneDrive. So for example, if I go into Power Apps, Contoso site tracking. So this is a workbook that I have stored the data into. And then there are few images which are stored related to that Contoso site tracking. So this Excel workbook, for example, if I can open it up, this has got a table of different buildings which are owned by a company called as maybe Contoso. And then now let us consider that as of today, they just send out the details via email as a shared workbook between the people. And then with Power Apps, we will see like how we'll be able to create the view of the buildings directly from this information. And then from there they will be also able to use this kind of an app on their own, okay, or maybe on their phones as well. So we will go ahead and then create an app around this. So whenever you're building any kind of an app from the app creator point of view, the things will look like firstly like you need to identify the business need that could be filled by your Power Apps. Then you just need to connect to any of the necessary data from your Power Apps. Then you should design the app using the controls, buttons, any kind of an user interface that you want to build out for. Then simply save and publish your app, test that for functionality. And once you're happy, share that app with the end user to give them any kind of a better experience. So now that we will get started and we will go into the app creation kind of an experience. Okay. So firstly that we need to go to this make.powerapps.com, and onto the left hand side, you will see a create kind of a button. So click on create. Here we have various options to get started. Either we can start with blank app, can Dataverse, SharePoint, Excel, any kind of a data sources. I will just go into the more data sources so that we will be able to see other data sources that we have got here. And then from here, we can build our own data source by connecting to that system. So you can probably click on new connection. There you will get more options where you want to get connected to. You can find out that option and get connected to that data source. So I already have one connection to my OneDrive here. So I will just click on that connection. As I click on that, I will be able to see a list of all of the files folders that I have got here. So I will go into the folder where we have that Contoso site tracking file added. So once we select that, we'll be able to see all of the tables that we have got inside of that file. So I will just go ahead, select the table called as site inspector from that file, and we'll just simply click on connect. So as we click on connect, it will automatically analyze all of the data, its format inside that Excel file, and then it will create one kind of an app. So I'll just click on skip now, and here you will be able to see without writing any kind of an code, in maybe 10 to 15 seconds, it has generated the app for us. So now that if I go here, click on play, you should be able to see that this one is almost production ready kind of an app. So we do have a photo of the building, the title of the building or name of the buildings, the city, description, everything. Again, from here, I will be able to refresh the data. I will be able to search the data if you want. At the same time, we will be able to sort out the data. Even we will be able to add any of the other site inspection building here. Again, another thing is we can go into the view item details and we'll be able to view more details. Again, from here, we'll be able to delete this item as well as edit this item, right? So without writing a single line of code by default, Power Apps give you this kind of functionalities through which we'll be able to see all the data. And again, this one is the gallery control which we were speaking about. And then we have various screens here. So we do have a browse screen to see all the information, detail screen to see a detailed information about a specific record. And then we do have a edit screen to edit a specific record. So let us go now and then explore all those apps that we have got here. Okay, so first one is this browse screen. So this screen will always help you to see the information about all of the information that you have got there from your data source. Then this detail screen will show the information at a single item level, and then edit screen will just help you to edit the existing item or create a new item kind of a thing. Now that, for example, if you want to go ahead and then explore the browse screen, so I will just click on this browse screen and then we'll be able to get into more focus mode on that. So each screen in this app has got multiple controls, but one control takes up most of the screen space. And then this screen in this app is the browse screen, which is named as browse screen 1 by default. And then controls in this browse screen that you will want to be familiar, that includes browse gallery 1. So this is the control that takes up most of the screen and then shows all of the data from your data source. Then we do have got here is next arrow. So this is a control. When it is selected, it will open up the detail screen for you. And then we do have a new item kind of an icon at the top. So this control, when it is selected, it will open up edit or create kind of a screen. And then in the detail screen, we will have the similar kind of an experience. If I go into the detail screen, so the detail screen, now that we are going into the detail of a single item. So again, here we do have a specific control called as an detail form 1. So this control again contains other controls for displaying all of your data. So again, here we have got each of the label as well as other controls available through which we are able to see the data. Again, if I go below, here we have a edit screen. Again, here we have a list of all of those controls, specifically the text box kind of and controls through which we'll be able to update or add a new data here. Okay, so what we'll do now is that we have the basic look and feel given by Power Apps to us, but we'll just go ahead and then probably try to customize this app. Okay, so let us firstly go into the browse screen, and then onto the browse screen we will go into this browse gallery 1. So and then again we do have a selection box around the gallery which confirms your choice. So this is the selection box. You will see those dotted kind of in lines which is a selection box. And then onto the right hand pane we do have all of the properties related to that. Now that, for example, if you want to change the layout for this so that we'll be able to see the information nicely, because if you see here, we have too much of information flowing in here, we will be able to change the layout of this as well. So probably we will keep it simple. We will go into this kind of an layout, which is image, title, and subtitle. So through which we will get some basic information to be displayed so that there will be a nice look and feel for our form. And then once we click on this next arrow, we'll be able to get into more depth of that. Another thing here is like we can go into the fields, we can click edit onto it, and then we will be able to change what kind of a subtitle we want to give to our city, means our form, and then what kind of a title we want to give. So let's say, for example, here we want to get it changed. We can even change it to something called as description. Do we have a description? Probably address here, and then in the title we can go ahead and then make it as a title. So now that we have a clear kind of an information being shown at the top, and this is how we'll be able to change the look and feel of the forms that we have created. So now if you play this, this is how we'll be able to see the basic details of all of the buildings that we have got there. We can go into that item detail and then we'll be able to edit the items from here. Let's say, for example, now that we have to at least follow 3 screens to get into the edit mode of that. If you want to just keep it simple and just want to provide edit kind of functionalities from here itself. In that case, what you can do is you can go into your browse gallery anywhere, click inside any of the control that we have got there, and then just go into the insert mode, go on to the icons, and then just find a right kind of an icon. So I will just click on edit. So now that we have this edit kind of an icon being displayed here, and what we will do is we will assign one formula to this edit icon, so that we'll be directly able to go onto the edit form. So what we will do here is that we will simply write formula called as an edit form, and then we will pass on the form of the edit, so that we'll be able to edit that form. And then simply that now we want to navigate our experience to the edit screen one that we have got below, which we just have seen. And then from there we'll be able to directly navigate to the form which is having the edit controls. And as we scroll to that form, we can have the screen transition. So for example, if you want to fade out the screen, then go to the next screen, you will be able to do that. So let's say we go ahead with this fade, and that's it. So I will just go and click. And now that we have this edit kind of an capability at the top of the page itself. So once I click on edit, you can see that we are directly into the edit mode. So I didn't have to write any major code. It was just a simple formula, and we were directly able to add that kind of an functionality very easily. Again, simply like, for example, if you want to update any of the other details into the details form, again you will be able to do that. So let's say, for example, as I go into the details form, I can see that we have most of the information, but probably not all the important information is here. So let's say ID is something which probably we don't want our end users to know about, because this is something internal. So in that case, I can go ahead simply and remove this ID. At the same time, if you want to add any other field, just click on add field, and then you will be able to add additional fields. So just by looking at this information, the basic information is missing here, which is title. So probably we can get it added there. So now that title is appearing at very end of the control, we just want to get it at the top. So we can just drag and drop it to the start, and then we are able to see the title at the top. So very basic things, but you will be able to create that kind of an user engaging experience for your apps. Another thing, let's say we want to customize this edit form. Even in that case, probably ID is the field here which we don't want our end users to get updated, because this one is probably used internally. So in that case, we can remove the ID field from here. Again, the basic field of title is missing here, so I can go ahead and add that title. And again, from there, what I can do is I can make it at the top of the list. Another thing that you will observe here quickly is description field. So description is never a single line of text. Obviously, it has to be a multiple line of text. So in that case, again, we will be able to change that experience. So just open up the description field that we have got here, go into the control type, and instead of just a single line kind of an edit text, go for the multi-line. And then once you do that, you will be able to see we quickly have changed this experience for the description field, and we have a long kind of a description field available here. Similar thing you will be also able to do for notes as well. Okay, so these are the basic things with which you will be able to build the application very easily, and then customize the application very easily. So this was just the basic kind of an things that you will be able to do with your Power Apps. So maybe what we will do is, let me just again open up the make.powerapps.com, and we will create one app with uh, with a blank canvas. Okay, so let it work too. So what we'll do is we'll just try to create an app which is something like a calculator kind of a functionality with Canvas app. So we'll just select a Canvas app. I will click on create, and I will just call it as a calculator, and then I will go ahead with the tablet kind of an format. So even if you want, you can go ahead with phone kind of an format. So I'll just click on create. So what we need here is probably two text boxes which will accept number 1 and number 2, and then there will be a few buttons with which we'll be able to add, subtract, multiply, divide the numbers. So now that this one is a blank canvas from where we'll be able to start, I will just go into the insert, and then we do have various controls here. So I can go into the text, I can add text input, or even from input, I will be able to add text input. So I will just click on that, and then that text input will be here. So I don't want any default text here, and I just want to change this format to a number because we are going to enter the number. And the hint text I will just give as enter number one. Okay, and then what I will do is I will just rename this one to number one. Okay, so this control has been renamed now to number one. I will go again into the text. I will add another text input. I will just place it one below the other. Repeat the same steps by removing the default text, changing the format it to be a number, and then uh, the hint text will be again enter number two. Okay, so this is a place from where we'll be accepting two numbers, and then we will go into the basic calculation as a calculator. So we'll just go ahead, add the button here. Okay, before that, let me just rename this text input to number two. Okay. All right, so we do have this button here. We will change the button text to probably addition plus. I will just call it as a plus, and this is the button from where we'll be able to add two numbers. Then probably I will again go ahead and add another button. I will just call it as a minus to subtract. We will add another button to multiply. Okay, and then we will add another button to do the um, divide kind of thing. Okay. All right. So now that we have all the buttons controls here, now that we just want to show the result. So for that, I will go ahead and simply put a label here. And then for that label, I will remove the text from here. Once I remove the text, probably we won't be able to see the result here, but I will just rename this to probably result. Okay. So we just have a result being shown here in this text box. So now that we just have this kind of an control, but we want to make use of formulas so that we'll be able to do that addition, subtraction, multiplication, and divide kind of an operations on it. So what we will do now is that we will use some kind of an formulas here uh, to set the numbers. So I will just go into the enter number one or this number one, and then we do have on change kind of an formula here or this event here, which will trigger whenever any of the value that will get changed from here. And then what we will do simply is here we will use a function called as set. That one will help us to set a value for our global variable, and then I will just call it as a n1 for a number one, and then simply we can give the um, text that is being entered here, which is number one. Okay. Similarly, we will go ahead and then have the same formula for on change of another text box that we have got, and I will just simply call that variable as n2. So this is a variable, global variable that I'm creating, and I'm setting that value to number two, which is any of the value which is being set by user on these text boxes. The next thing that we will do is whenever we just want to do the addition subtraction, we will again go onto that control that button, and then we do have on select kind of an event here. Here we will use another formula called as update context. So this update context will help you to execute this operation. It is kind of a function which is used to create context kind of a variable which is help to temporarily hold the piece of information. So I will just go ahead and then use that update context here. So as I use that update context here, I need to specify information maybe into a JSON kind of an format. So I will just name that variable as a result, and I will simply go ahead and add the global variables which are n1 and n2. Okay, let me just close this out. So this is what will happen with addition. I will go ahead and simply do subtraction here. I will go ahead and do multiplication here. Oh, sorry.
Nanddeep, you have
And
3-4 minutes.
Yeah,
You might also
sure.
need to look at the questions too.
Sure, right, no problems. And then I will go ahead and then subtract. Okay, because we started 15 minutes late, but okay, I will try
Yeah,
to
that's
cover up. Sure. So I will. We just have those formula set. Now that all of the results that we have got is in the variable called as an result. So what we'll do is again I will just go on to the result and just simply have the text to this set as a result. Okay, so which is the formula that I have got. Now that I will just go ahead and run this. I will enter 5 for both the numbers. I will go ahead and click on plus. This is going to give us the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and divide. Okay, so these are the simple formulas, but with which you will be able to create a nice looking and easy kind of an applications that we have got. Okay, so let us see now that we have this app created, how we'll be able to go ahead and share this app. So sharing the app is kind of a final step for every app creator, and then you will be able to share the app to test the full kind of a functionality with your stakeholders. So what we can do with this is let me again go back and if in case we want to share this with our users, I will just click on file and I will so here we'll be able to save this app. So I will go ahead and just click on save. So this app will be now saved with the name whichever we have given. Again, if you can go into the settings, you will be also able to change the look and feel, colors, everything for that app. And here we have got that share option. So once I click share, we'll be able to see few of the options for sharing this app. So by default, any of the user that we specify here will just will just receive the view kind of an rights there. But again, we can specify any of the user here as the owner, so that even he will be able to make changes to that. So let's say for example I use this user and also assign him as a co-owner. In that case, he can edit and further share this app as well. And then I can just click on share. There will be an email that will be generated to this user, and even this user he will be able to maintain this app. Okay, so this is what we'll be able to do, and this is the web link that will be generated. So you will be able to distribute this web link, or even you will be able to browse to this through mobile or tablet, and then this is how it will work for the end users, right? So simply that again, whenever you are sharing the app, even you will be able to use the security groups which will include many of the existing members in that group, and then everyone will be able to access the app whenever they will join or get removed from that group. Okay, so this was simply about how you will be able to share the app as well as distribute the app, right? So let's come to the closing summary for this then. So Power Apps will allow you to build any kind of an custom business app to make powerful solutions with any kind of an potential to increase process efficiency in the areas of your communication as well as in data. And now that we have just built our first app, so you can take benefits from of this to create any kind of a good looking customer solutions at your own business, and then start thinking of the process that kind of frustrates you, and consider that how you can leverage Power Apps to improve that process for everyone at your organizations. Okay, so now that we just have covered the basic elements of Power Apps, how to build the Canvas app, how to customize the elements of your app, and then how to share this app. So at least this covers the area for Power Apps. With that, maybe I will hand it over to the organizer, and then they can walk us through the other apps. But thank you very much. If you have got any questions, even feel free to get in touch with me on this social media handles as well. Right? Thank you. Back to you, Priyesh.
Yeah, I think Nanddeep, there are questions are there in the chat window. Maybe
Yeah, sure.
Priyesh,
I will.
you want to
Yeah,
cover the questions?
yeah.
Maybe
I
because
will.
we
I will.
started 5 minutes late, so we can extend five
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah. No problem. I will cover them in the chat. No issues. We can probably get started with next session.
Okay, then
Sure.
it's fine. Priyesh, then over to you.
All right. Thank you, Nanddeep. That was really informative, and I think that kind of sets tone for the next sessions as well. So thank you again, Nanddeep, for your time today and sharing us with valuable information on the Power Platform. Next, I'll invite Ritika to talk about pages and model-driven apps.
Hey, Priyesh, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Ritika. Thank you for joining us again. And the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Priyesh. Okay, so hey everybody, I'm Ritika Agarwal. Let me share my screen and let's get started. All right, so welcome all to the Power Platform Classmates event for the 2022. Today I'm going to talk about the other kinds of applications. Just now we talked about Canvas app. Now we are going to talk about model-driven apps and Power Pages and how they are different from each other and where in which scenario you would go for a model-driven app and in which one you would go with a Power Pages application. Before we start, a little bit about myself. I'm Ritika Agarwal. I work as a Power Platform consultant. I am a Microsoft MVP and MCT for business applications. Apart from this, I am the user group leader for Hyderabad Power Platform user group. If you would like to connect with me on social media, you can scan my LinkedIn QR code here, or you can reach out to me on Twitter or my personal email. Apart from that, I do have a personal blog, which is agrawalritika.com. So if there is anything which could help you, you can definitely check it out. Otherwise, in case of any questions or queries, you can reach out to me directly. Before we start, an important notice. So we are going to follow the official Microsoft curriculum for PL 900 as part of the applications we are targeting. If you are looking for more details, you can go to Microsoft Learn, and there are plenty of courses with details and exercises which you can try before opting for the examination. In case you get stuck with any course or you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Okay, let's get started. Model-driven apps. So model-driven apps is a kind of application which you can create as part of Power Apps, and it's a kind of application you can create in quickly few steps. Obviously, there are many updates you can make on top of it, which would take time. But if we look at the overall structure of the application, all you need to do is select the components which you would like to add to your application. And from there, the platform is smart enough to select your choices and then create an application on top of it. The approach you would follow for creating the model-driven app is it starts with data. So the first step would be you will model your data into the form of tables. Now, if I talk about where does this data come from? So for a model-driven app, the data has to be in Microsoft Dataverse. It doesn't support other data sources directly. So the first step is my data is going to be in Microsoft Dataverse. From there, the second step would be what are the business processes which would be applied on top of it? Like maybe I want to run an automation whenever someone applies for a leave, it starts an approval process. So a notification goes to the manager and then they will be able to come to the record and then make some updates to it. Or there could be multiple things, depending on the scenario you're working on. Finally, you can structure your application in a way at what place I would like to put the table, the field, and what kind of data I'm expecting. Now, if I give it a quick contrast with how Canvas apps work, you may have seen this earlier in the last session. In the Canvas app, you have flexibility over design, wherein you can select how your app is going to look in terms of design. In model driven app, you have lesser flexibility because most of the things are going to be done by the platform itself to create that application for you. All you need to do is select what components should be placed on your application. And by what components to be placed in the app, I'll get to that in a minute so that it will be much easier to understand. So here, design. Okay, I get to select the components. What about data sources? Then I have Microsoft Dataverse. There are other ways through which you can bring in data from other data sources, which is like a virtual table. but by default, the only data source your model-driven app can connect to is Microsoft Dataverse. And the reason is this is a kind of template application wherein I would say 70% of the design is already pre-built, and the rest 30% is up to us in terms of what navigation I would like to add to my app. If you see this image on the right side of my screen, this is an example of a template model-driven app which is created if you select deploy sample apps and data option at the environment level. So if you look at the left gray area, that is called a sitemap. This defines what navigations you will have. So you can add a dashboard here, you can add a table, you can add a web URL or any external URL. This way, you will be able to create the application. Now, what appears on the right side is that component. So if I am trying to embed a dashboard here, I would go to the dashboard and then make the updates. It's not going to be updated in the model-driven app, but the component itself. That's why model-driven app is a component-focused application wherein you plug together various components and display it like a complete application. Now, what is the advantage? The first thing is responsiveness. If I am creating the application, I don't need to worry about whether it's going to be a tablet application or a mobile application like my Canvas app, because model-driven app is responsive. It will adjust its design on the basis of available screen width. So if I'm opening the app on a mobile phone, it would adjust accordingly. If I open it on a tablet device, it will adjust accordingly. So that's the beauty of it. So you get to create an application, a responsive application with a few clicks. And we will see that in a few minutes. Okay, so now if we talk about the building blocks of model-driven apps, the first one is data, because if I say the template design, it's already pre-built to some extent. Now, if I don't have data, I will not be able to start working on the model-driven app, because what will the app show then? In a Canvas app, yes, I could create the design or the wireframes in the meanwhile, but for a model-driven app, data is the first thing you will start to work on. And because we are talking about Microsoft Dataverse, the data will be stored in the form of tables. Those tables will have columns, and various tables can be associated to each other. Like as a user or as an employee, I will be able to create more than one leaves. Or as a student, you can attend multiple sessions. This data could be related. So the first step you have to worry about is what your data looks like. Then the user interface. So from the user interface perspective, even though you cannot drag and drop controls like a Canvas app, but you get to select which field will be visible on your screen and at what place. You can decide the whole sitemap in the left side. Then if we go with the logic, you can add flows, business process flows, workflows, actions, business rules. These are important for logical validation. Let's say I have a condition like when I am creating or when I'm requesting someone for information, maybe their name, I'm asking them for their first name, last name, and middle name. Now, I don't want to ask them again for their full name because that is something which can be concatenated in the backend. So that's where a calculated column will come into picture. Or if I want to apply a rule, something like if the, let's say the start and end date, if the person who I'm asking to join my company, I want to record their hire and termination date. So if the hire date is after termination date, that doesn't make sense, right? So I can apply a rule. The record will not save if the hire date is entered as after the termination date. Similarly, there can be other kinds of logical validations too. Finally, from visualization perspective, you can add various charts or dashboards. These are out of the box on Dataverse, but you can also get your Power BI dashboard or report into your model-driven app. Now, why is this visualization needed? I mean, if we talk from a bigger scenario, I may have a large set of data in my tables. Now, if I want to find some information, I'm not going to go into the records and then write some query or maybe apply just some filters on the user experience to see that. By a chart or a dashboard, just by looking at it, I know what information I'm looking for. So this is also one of the important pieces of a model-driven app, where many customers, they prefer having a dashboard on the app as like a primary navigation. And then if they want to drill down into data, they can do that. So if we talk about the design of the model-driven app, the first thing you start with is the sitemap. You define what components you would like to keep, and then comes the components itself. So maybe I have a dashboard, maybe I have a table. So I get to decide what forms or what views I want to show, what are the fields I want to show. It's all up to us. As a developer, I can select granular details of what fields will be visible to the user. I can even apply rules like show this field when the condition is met. Like if I am asking the user for some details, I have a checkbox. Do you hold multiple passports? If the person says yes, then only I show the passport number 2 field, something like that. Okay, now if we talk about the steps you would take to create a model-driven app. So you would create a model-driven app, like you will go to the maker experience, select new app and model-driven app. Then you would start adding components to your application. You would create a form and you can edit the fields that exist on top of it. You can update the view, because ultimately if I am showing a table on the screen, I would need to take care of the forms and the views associated with it. And finally, once I'm done, I'll publish the app. If I talk in terms of data security, so in order to protect the data and only allow access to the users who should have access, the security for a model-driven app can be managed using security roles. So you can create roles, assign them permissions like, okay, I'll have read access on the contractor table. Okay, I'll have write access on the account table, something like that. So you can create various roles and you can assign it to various users. Let's see the demo for the model-driven app, and let's dive into how you can actually create one model-driven app from scratch. Okay, so this is an environment, and here I am on the list of tables. If you see, I have the out-of-the-box tables, and then there are some custom tables. This contractor table is the custom table wherein I have few columns. So if I go to the columns, I have company account. This is the out-of-the-box. For the custom columns, I have email, hire date, icon. Then this primary column is name, the phone number, termination date, and rest of the columns are default columns. What are these default columns? The ones which are created out of the box automatically when I created this table. Okay, fair enough. Let's go to the maker experience and start building our application. So let me switch the environment. And if I go to apps, I want to go with the new model-driven app. Then it asks me for the name of my application. So let's call it my first model-driven app. Okay, create. So this is now creating my model-driven app. The structure is created. Now, once the app is created, it creates a sitemap along with it. Sitemap works as a subcomponent. So this left menu is the subcomponent. Now I can add pages. So what do I want to add? Do I want to add a view or a form? So basically I want to add a table, or I want to add a dashboard or a custom page. Now, if you don't know this already, custom page, it's like a page which will open similar to a Canvas app experience, and it can be added as a navigation on your model-driven app. So think about it. I want an application where I want the model-driven app structure, but at the same time, I want to add a navigation which is like custom, which is like a Canvas app. So I can build a custom page and embed it into a model-driven app. So this has the features of both. For this one, I'm going to go with a table-based view form. Okay. Next, then it asks me to select which table I want. I have the custom table, so I'm going to select that contractor. See, I can search and I can select. Now add. Once I added this detail, if you see, the left menu is set up. And if you see, I see group 1 here. This is not a text I want. So I can go to the navigation, then I can select this group 1 and change its title. So from the left menu, if I expand it, you have the pages and then you can sort the navigation properties from here. Okay, let's call it contractor data. I'll also come back to the fact of what is area, group, and sub area. But first, let's save this. So this is like my first application. And what I did was I added a page for the table. Let's see how this turns out. So it's saved. Now I'm publishing. Okay, once it is published, I'll play so that I can see how this turns out. And see, my app is created. Even though I don't see all the columns, I'll get to why that is happening. But I have the contractors and it is fetching me some information. I can open the record and view its detail. It only has certain columns. The reason is the form is not configured with the additional columns. And the same reason is happening here, wherein I don't have all the columns added to my view. So see, this is a model-driven app I created, which allows me to look at all the data from my database table, from my Dataverse table, and I can use it. And see, responsiveness. If I mimic the mobile view here, this app is auto adjusted, wherein now I can use it, in a very intuitive manner on a mobile phone. If I switch it back, it turns on the desktop or tablet mode, and now it is visible or it is more accessible on a bigger screen or a bigger width device. Okay, now let's see how we can control these views and forms. So for that, I'm going to go to my table. So I am on the contractor table and let's go to the form first. So view is when you see more than one records from your table and when you open something and that displays as the form. Then I'll open the main form which is displaying. And because I want to add the columns, I'll select this ABC. Again, if you expand this, you can see what navigation you are selecting, table columns. So I'll add my additional columns here, company account, hire date, termination date. And now if you see, like, if I look at it here at this point, I don't need the whole width or like the 80% here for the email because email can be entered in half of this value only. In that case, we can change the layout. See how simple is that? So I just select the section I want and then I can make it 2 columns. That way, I have 2 sections here and I will be able to drag and drop the columns from one to another. So like company account, hire date, termination date. Okay. We have other options too, like I can make it 4 columns at max and then save. And publish. So publish is important because that makes sure your changes are pushed to the live version. When I'm saying live version, it's not like production deployment. No, it's like the actual running version of your application. Okay, published. Let's go back and refresh. Okay, see, now the form is changed. I have two columns now, and it looks better than earlier rather than having the whole width of the screen to just, one field. I can make it three columns also, but because we have only a small number of fields at this point, but that's why we are not adding it as a three column, but you can definitely add it. All right, this is the form. Now let's go back and update the view. Okay, active contractors. So I don't want created on, remove. I want to see the email and the company account. That's it. Rest of the information I can get from the form itself. So I can drag and drop it. So once again, save and publish. Once this is published, we'll go back and refresh to see if our change is reflecting. Now imagine how cool is this for designing the app. You're not even writing expressions at this point for model-driven app. Instead, what I'm doing is drag and drop the fields or the components here and there, and that is something which is creating my whole application. And see, the active contractors is now updated, wherein I can see the name, the email, and the company account feed. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is the area, groups, and sub area. Now, one thing before we jump into that, for the model-driven app, we have two editors. One is the modern editor, which is this one we are using right now. There is one which is classic. I'll show you what the classic version looks like, and maybe you have already seen this earlier as well, or maybe in some documentations or blogs. But earlier, there was only classic editor. When we wanted to create a model-driven app or update it, we would go to the classic editor. But now, with many new capabilities, the modern editor is released and we can update the application directly. In some cases, you may want to go to the classic editor, but most of the things are now supported in the modern view, I mean. Okay. So here, if I select this navigation bar, there is one thing we have to do, which is enable areas. That's how we see the areas. Otherwise, it's not visible directly in the modern view. And that is the one thing which is like, it's now supported, but earlier it was not. So now I can add an area. I'm adding areas so that I can show you how this works, because from the design perspective, it is very important that you understand the difference between area, groups, and sub area in a model driven app. Okay, so I'll call this area as system settings. And the first one, I'll name it as contractor area. Okay. So in the system settings, I'll add a group and I'll name it as accounts, company accounts maybe. And then I'll add a sub area. So it's hierarchical. I can add an area, and in that area, I can add a group. In the group, I can add a subgroup. Now I want to show a table here and my account table and add. Okay, here I have one more sub area. Okay, on this one, I can add a dashboard. I can pick one of the existing ones. Maybe let's see my knowledge dashboard. Okay. And then save. So if you see, I have added one area, and then in that area, there is one group, and then there is another area, and that also I have one group. Now, just to make a differentiation, let me add another group here for dashboard. And I'll move this dashboard here. Yeah, so I have two groups here. Now save. And publish. Once it is published, let's go and refresh. Now, what is the significance of this area, group, and sub area? Right now, I only have like one dashboard and two tables. What if you're working on a very large application and it has like 50 or 100 different navigations you would like to show? Now, if your user is coming to the application and they see 50 or 100 different menu options just available, in one scroll bar, it's not a very good user experience. That's why you can split it out on the basis of categories. Like on the first page, I keep only the most frequent data. And then on the second one, I keep the settings. So I have the accounts here. This navigation switcher you see on the bottom, this is called an area. So if you see, I defined two areas, contractor area and system settings. That's how I can switch it. And on the contractor area, there were two groups. So group is not really a navigation, but it is like a heading to a group. So I have a bunch of navigations I would like to show, and then I want to group them together. So group does that. And sub area is the actual one wherein you add your navigations, like you add your table, your dashboard, etc. This way, you can define the structure of your model-driven apps. Now, if I would like to make some changes to the design per se, I cannot make changes to the left nav or like the structure of this. If I'm going to embed a table on the model-driven app, it's always going to look like this. See the accounts. There are custom controls I can apply on top of it, but this is the basic structure. So from a design perspective on the model-driven app, I can select where the fields are going to be and how I want to arrange them, but not the overall structure. And the reason is it allows us to interact with a large data set. Uh, there is a there is a restriction in Canvas app, which is you can only bring 2000 rows at max from a data source at some point, but it's not there in the model driven app. Even if you have hundreds and thousands of records in your table, you will be able to view and search through the the records on the go. It's relatively very faster as well. So that's the beauty of a model driven app. I get to create an application by selecting a few options. Now, if you would say that's all I can do, the answer would be to that, no. There are many other things which you can do. You can change the whole look and feel also, but that deviates you from the low code, no code side of things. For the PL 900 course, it's not going to focus anywhere on the custom code, but it is going to be mostly on the out of the box options only. So this way you can create a model driven app and add your tables, update your fields, and get your data. Now, next up, we will start on the Power Pages. Okay, so this is the third kind of application which you can create in Power Platform, and this allows you to create websites. Now, imagine.
Ritika?
Yes.
Yeah, is Power Pages are general available?
No, it's currently in preview, but let's take the questions for towards the end. If you have any questions, please use the chat and I'll answer them one by one. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So Power Pages, this is another component of Power Platform, which allows you to create external websites. Now we have talked about Canvas app, model-driven app. How is this Power Pages different? Before we talk about that, a little bit of a history here. Earlier, there was Power Apps portals, and that was the external application you would create. But as the Power Platform is evolving, Power Pages is released as a subset of, superset of Power Apps portal, wherein you get all the capabilities of Power Portals, and you get to, add your own design to the application in a much more efficient way. So think about creating a website without having to write HTML or CSS or JavaScript. Obviously, they are supported, but the base application you can create with Power Pages is something which does not require you to add much code. So here, the Power Pages is a kind of application which can be shared externally. Now, if I come back to the Canvas and model-driven app versus the Power Apps Power Pages, the difference is Canvas and model-driven app are only available for the people that exists as part of your Azure Active Directory. Now, what does that mean? If someone is a part of my organization, then only they can access it. Even if the person is from a different company, I can add them as a guest and share the application. But that's not the same with Power Pages. You get an external URL which can be shared with anybody around the world. And if you have that URL, you will be able to access the application. So it's not dependent on the licenses or the login of the user, but it's a kind of application which you can access just with the help of a URL. Now, if you ask me, then if it's not licensed, how is it, charged, or what is the cost behind it? So the cost for Power Pages is on the basis of either page views or on the basis of logins. When I say logins, these are third party or external logins as well. So you can add like a B2C, or you can add individual providers like Microsoft, Google, LinkedIn, and other options that are available. Okay, now if you look at the right side of the screen, you will see a picture here. So this is one of the templates which is available out of the box on the Power Pages. So the Power Pages, it brings us the power of no-code solutions through which we can create website. Now this is cool, right? I can create a website without having to write much code. And personally, I don't have, very extensive experience on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I can create the application, but when it comes to, various packages or frameworks to create the applications, I may not be very, good with that. But with the Power Pages, even if you don't have experience with the programming languages used for creating any external website, you can still create the application and you can integrate it with data directly. So if I talk about the data source behind a Power Pages application, again, it will be Microsoft Dataverse. So any data that you would like to show on your application, that will come from Microsoft Dataverse. Any page you create, it can be viewed anonymously or as a logged in user. So let's say I created a page like a help page. Now, if someone is coming to my website, they should be able to see the help or the FAQ page. So that should be visible to everybody. Now, for designing the structure of your application, you would use the drag and drop experience, or you can write your own HTML as well. So if you are a developer who is familiar with HTML and maybe you want to create your custom design with the help of code because that's what you're comfortable with, you can opt for that option. But if you're not familiar with HTML, or for whatever reason you would not like to write any code, you can use the drag and drop experience. So it's an option available to you, whatever you want to opt. But from my recommendation, the first one should always be drag and drop. If the feature is not available using drag and drop, then you can go and write your own code, but always opt for the out of the box options in Power Platform. Okay, you may have seen this image or this small chart earlier as well. So this shows like a Power Platform ecosystem. And today we are, as part of this session, we are focusing on Power Pages. So it exists as part of the Microsoft Power Platform ecosystem. It can get data from a Dataverse table and you can display it to various users. So if we talk about various data sources, no, they're not directly supported. I can only bring my data from Microsoft Dataverse. If we talk about styling, because styling is important. If I'm creating an application for external users or basically for everyone, I may want to include my own design as well. And when I say design, it could be as simple as the colors I select to display on my website. Each organization, they have their own like color palette in which they have their primary colors, their secondary colors, etc. So if I'm looking for any such option, I can add those directly in my Power Pages without having to write code. So the styler for a Power Apps Pages application or the editor, I would say, it's very intuitive. Other than that, if that the options which are available in the editor, they are not enough and I want to add my own custom design, maybe in the form of CSS classes, I can do that. So both of the options are supported, whether I would like to create the application from scratch or by the drag and drop feature. But if I choose the, creating the application from scratch, I am deviating from the, from the source, which is like low code, no code, because then I'm going to write all the code. So always opt for the out of the box options. Now, if we talk about data security, in that case, because this is an external application, like anyone in the world could access my application. So I have to be very careful when it comes to the data. Because if someone who should not have access to my data is able to access my data, then that's a very big problem. That's why web roles comes into picture. Here also you can control who will have access to your data and at what level. Will I have read access? Will I have write access? Or what kind of access? Basically, to display a data on your Pages application, you would go and set the permissions. Even if I added the table, it will show me the error like you don't have permission. So I have to provide the permissions first. Who will be able to see that data? Is it going to be everybody? Is it going to be the ones those are just logged in? What is going to happen? Okay, let's jump on to the demo for Power Pages now. So again, I'll go back to my browser window. And if you would like to work with Power Pages, you can go to the URL make.powerpages.microsoft.com. And that's where you can select your environment. After selecting the environment, I do have some applications already created. So it's showing me that. But if you're new and you're using it for the first time, the screen it will land you on is this template. So from here, you can select which template you want. So these are some of the templates which are available. Only these three are available and these two are in the coming soon menu. So they will be available in some time. Now, from here, I can preview the template wherein I can see how this template looks like. If this is something I want to go with, I can select the template. This is another template for a financial institution with which you can book various appointments. So this is another application. And this is for a school program wherein you show various courses and the students, they can register for it. So this is another example. Now, even if your scenario is not building it for a school program, you have it with some other requirements, then still you can use the template if it is something that you're looking for, and then you can customize it with your own data. But the basic structure of your external website can be defined using these templates. So you start with the template, and the first time you're creating your Power Pages application, it takes about 30 to 45 minutes to configure everything in the backend. So basically it installs the solutions required for portals at your environment level. Once the site is up, you can preview it. So I have this demo site 1806.powerportals.com. If I open it, I will be able to see the information here. And let me add it to the chat as well in case you would like to try this along with me. Okay, let's go back. So I have an external website on which I have various options that are available. I can view through this, or if I inspect it to see how it will work on a mobile device, see, this is also responsive. As long as I'm using the drag and drop features of the Power Pages, the application will be created responsive. And as you can see, now I can use it directly on a mobile device. It says I don't have permissions because I'm not logged in, but we can browse through various pages and see the information. See, this is showing me the information from a table. And then if I switch it back to the like this is a tablet version now, and then this is the desktop. So the user experience is automatically updated. That's the, I would say the common thing in a model and a model-driven app and a Power Pages is that it is responsive. For the Canvas app, you have to either make it responsive or you have to select the format at the very beginning. But that's not the case with a model-driven app or a Power Pages application. Okay. Now I have other options here. This is a trial website and it is going to expire in 116 days. If I don't want it to be deleted, I can upgrade it to a production, which would require licenses or a cost associated with it. I can customize the theme. So the basic colors of my application, I can change those. Or I can connect a custom domain. Now, if I'm building an application for a customer, I'm not going to give them the URL demo site or whatever they want to keep the first name .powerappsportals.com, because every company, if they're building a website, they want their own domain to be associated. So that is a feature which is available. You can associate it later, but at the time you are building your portal application or the pages application, you would select only the first part. So I gave this name because this is a external website. So this has to be unique. If it's not unique, it will not allow you to create the application and will throw you an error right away. So the whatever address you are selecting, it has to be unique. Okay. And then if I would like to share this with other users so that they can come and collaborate on this with me, I can do that. Now let's take a look at the editor. So this is what the editor looks like. And if you see on the canvas or on the preview here, I have various options. If I would like to add something, I can just select this and select what I want to add here. If I want to change the style of my application, I would go to the styling menu and then I can change it. So maybe I want this turquoise color theme here. So then I can select it, or I can select it as bright blue. This will change the colors. And again, if I want to change the colors myself, I can do that. So let's say this buttons. So the primary buttons, if I want to change the style of it in terms of what is the fill color, what is the hover color, font, size, etc., it will be changed. And it's not only going to be applied on one place, but the whole website. So if I'm using a primary button at any point, it is going to address these styling. Now, if you ask me, how is this built? Because this is an external website, it is also an HTML, like in the backend, there is HTML. Even though I am only dragging and dropping the control, but the platform is creating that code for me, which makes it as a HTML page. I will not see that HTML code anywhere, but the base is HTML, CSS, and scripting wherever needed. Okay, let's try to add a page. I don't want to save my changes, so I didn't. And now let's add a page. So I want to add one on the main navigation, and let's call it contractors. So now this is adding my page here. Here I can select what component I want to put. So to bring data from a Microsoft Dataverse table, I need to add a list. But I have other options too. I can add a text, a button, an image, video, anything. So a list control. What list I want? Let's say the contractor list. The contractor. And see, this is how intuitive it is. I just select the options and that is just going to configure my web page. And active contractors. Okay. So I added that. One thing which is missing, the permissions. So I have not still added who will have access to this data. So new permissions, contractor permissions, and contractor. What kind of access? So this is something which is a bit deeper in detail, like will I have access to all the records or just my related records, etc. For now we're just selecting the global, and I just want the users to be able to read that information. They should not be able to edit it. So I'm just providing read access, and then the roles. Anonymous means even if I'm not logged in, I will be able to access. Authenticated means I can only access when I am logged in. So I want to make it available to both the anonymous and the authenticated users. Save. Once I save this detail, this is going to assign the permissions. Now I can sync it so that my data is pushed to the live version. Once it is synced, I can preview. So preview on the desktop. And here you have a QR code which allows you to scan it if you want to view it on your mobile device. So here if you see, I have the table which is set up, and I will be able to view the details which are coming from my Dataverse table. Now if I go and make some changes to it, like here, I don't need the other fields, so I'm just going to save it and refresh. Okay, so the reason it's not updating the data yet, Power Pages has a caching, which is if you update the data, it is going to take a few minutes to reflect it. The default refresh time is in 15 minutes. So you might see that data getting updated shortly or in some time. It will be updated because this information is coming from Microsoft Dataverse. Another thing is, how will I log in? So these are the various identity providers which are available. I can provide user local sign-in, which means if I go to the sign-in page, my users, they can register on the application and they would be able to use it directly. And then once they are registered, next time they want to log into the application, they can come here and sign in. Or there are external. External options is like you can connect with Facebook, Azure B2C, LinkedIn, Google, Twitter, and Microsoft. If you have your own provider, you can add that as well. So you can select the provider as other, select the protocol, and then you will be able to connect with your authentication provider. This is one. Now, how will I set the restrictions on the page level? So let's say I don't want to show this contractor page to everybody. It should only be visible to the users who are logged in. So I would go to page settings. Okay, no, not here. Okay, just a second. Yeah, let's do one more thing. Okay, I'm going to go to the maker experience again. And I'll show you one other application which is available because it's important to see that. There is, when you create any Power Page application, it creates a model-driven app, which is portal management. From here, you can add various permissions. So whatever configuration you are making changes in the editor, the same is getting synced here. So that sync option, it's syncing this model-driven app, or basically the data behind it, with the pages that you are updating. So now I want to hide my pages from the anonymous users. Anonymous people should not be able to see the details. So I can add a new web page access control, let's say contractors page to authenticate it. Then the website. So it's my this one 1806. The web page is contractors, and then restrict to read all content, save. Publishing state, I'll publish it. So yeah, this one 1806, it's showing me the website name, so I'm just looking for that. And then the web roles, I'll only say authenticated users. Let's type that out. 1806. Okay. And save. All right. Now let's do one thing, which is the sync. So now let me log in with my Azure Active Directory account. And see, this data is also updated. Let's try to view this anonymously. See, it navigated me to the sign-in page, which means even if I have the URL for a page that exists, if I do not have access to it, I will not be able to browse to that web page. And that is how you can set up security on a Power Pages application. With that, that's it from my side. Now I can take questions, but thank you so much for joining. And in case there is anything I couldn't answer at this point, you can reach out to me later. Or if you have any questions, you need some recommendations, please let me know. Priyesh, over to you, or maybe I can check the chat one by one.
Sure, yes. Thank you for the session, Ritika. That was quite engaging and helpful. We do
Thank
have a
you,
lot of
Priyesh.
questions in the chat.
Okay,
Able to.
let me check.
Ritika, can I ask one question here?
Yes, please.
Ritika, the requirement is it is something like we want to create the page dynamically. What is the option they're looking out for? Means I mean to say, we have created by some application, they will create the attributes in the table. Okay. In the table, I
Okay.
mean to say in the data table, they are going to create. I want to show them dynamically on the main page or quick create or on the card. How we can do that? Which is the
And
feasible way?
And this is in context to which kind of application you're talking?
In the model driven app itself.
Okay, so you mean like in one of the list or in one of the table, I create a table like owner field and then like a text value. Then the amount
Okay, I
field
will.
as number value. Something like that?
Yeah, I will give an example. In case of Salesforce, there is an option where exactly I can go ahead and create the fields, and they will have their managed code. Okay, they call it as a managed solution. In that one, when they refresh it, they will be able to see that the field added in the form automatically.
Okay.
In our
Okay.
case, we need to drag and drop on our page and do publish and everything, correct?
Correct.
That form will be a read-only form. Okay, in Salesforce. That same similarity, similar functionality we want in the dynamic CRM.
Right.
It might be a web it might be a web page, or it might be a dynamic model driven any form also.
Mhm. Okay, so in that case, I mean, the basic form which is displayed on the model-driven app, it has to come from the fields. If you want to add dynamic data, there is another option which is like the custom page. You can add it there to try your logic. But the form which is directly coming from the table, it will only hold the table, sorry, it will only hold the fields that exist at the table level. You can try some scripting. I haven't tried, something like this myself with script, but from an out of the box perspective, you can check the custom pages option in model driven app.
Okay, custom page, you mean to say web resources you are talking about?
No. So I was sharing my screen. If you go to the model driven app editor, there is third navigation option. It's only available in the modern view. That is custom page. You can try it
If you want,
out there.
you can share your screen, Ritika. Sorry, I grabbed your
Okay,
screen.
no problem. Okay, so where is my browser? Yeah, okay, this one. So if I go to the editor, I have it open somewhere. Second. Okay, so here when I try to add something, let's say add a sub area, in the content type, I have this custom page. So you can try this option to add your own logic in that way. Because the table option, if you select, it will only bring the fields from your table level.
So that's what I'm telling. From the table itself.
Sorry, your voice was
It's
breaking it.
table itself. It's from the table itself.
So from the table
Okay.
itself, no,
This,
then you have to either use a web resource only, otherwise it's not possible on the direct form.
okay. Okay. In Salesforce, they provide this, and since we are migrating the project, the client needs the similar functionality if they are going to add it.
So dynamic is something I'm not, dynamic field is something I'm not sure if, it's going to be released in the sometime or not. I have no information on that. But as of this point, you will have to use one of the custom approaches only, whether you go with web resources or you go with the custom page option. All right, creation. I think I can answer a few questions.
Yeah, maybe you can try taking a couple of questions and post that. We'll start with the quiz.
Okay, let's start with the quiz. I'll just answer it on the
Yes,
chat
if you can
because
share.
it's
Yeah,
time.
I
Yeah.
know, but because there are a lot of so many good questions, yes, of
Uh-huh.
course, you'll need to spend some time answering
Yep.
the chat. So,
Okay.
all right, again, Ritika, thank you for taking time out today and educating us on pages and model-driven apps. That was quite informative and quite a few things that I myself realized I didn't know. So again, this keeps the momentum going on to our quiz round. Goloknath, are you here in this chat?
Priyesh, maybe
Yes,
I can run it.
Aro will take up the quiz.
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
take
Aro.
Priyesh, I'm here. Guys, I'm really excited about this quiz because something which something you can learn what the other sessions I've seen from Nanddeep, from Ritika and all. So some kind of you can get something. What I want to share with you is that towards the end we will collate all the right answer, just like a KBC. Who do the fastest will be getting the first prize or second prize. So we have 5 winners, and those 5 winners will be getting a 1-year premium subscription from Wish Labs, right? So we'll talk about later on. So let me start with let me share my screen. And there are a couple of modules. So what I will be sharing with you, we covering with the module 1, 2, and 3 in this session, right? And I'm going to start with module 1. And if you people have not seen how Cohort works, so let's give a dry run. That what we will do, I just sent a URL to you. You have to just type in the URL. You can do on the browser or you can do on the mobile phone as well, right? So the URL for Kahoot is here, okay? I'm putting the URL. Okay, so URL is kahoot.it. Okay, .it. And the pin is on your screen, right? Which is 553. Let me type it. Pin is 553 and 533 06 19. Okay. Okay, right. So guys, you have opportunity to win the top prizes, and we are breaking into different sessions, right? What we have covered, we have covered the Nanddeep session and Ritika's amazing sessions, and we actually answering the questions on those 3 topics. Okay, so I give some time for everyone who join in. We have many people, right? And you can be also be excited that you have an opportunity to win something, right? Yeah, so let's see. 21. Okay, I'm just waiting for, like, give me 10 seconds more. Purushottam is here. We have Yogen, we have Abhijit, we have Alauddin, we have many people. Rahul is here. Okay, okay. Yeah, so I'm going to start the session, right? And we see it, okay? And this is it's not it's a real question. Thing we will go to start with, right? So let me start the session, module 1, which is about the Canvas app, right? Let's see. Okay. So what I will do, I will just like Amitabh Bachchan, we ask some questions, so you have to see the things. Okay. 5 questions we have. So first question here: a company needs an automated way to convert emails to support OneDrive, Outlook, and OneDrive. Which tool we should we use? Okay, which company want to have some automated tools to make it support Outlook and OneDrive? Which tool we should use? Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, Power Virtual Agents. I'm really happy that most of the people answer, right? Let me see who did what. Okay, so Arpita did very well, right? And we know the answer, right? The Power Automate, right? So which is this thing. Then we have Nalika, and then we have Sandeep. Many people answer. Excellent. Okay, let's go to the second question for us. An employee want to share the data insights through visualizations to the management. Okay, visualization. Which tool we should use? Okay, so guys, you have to, guys and girls, we have to just answer this one. It's quite simple, I will say. Yeah, so let's see who has the answer. It's amazing, right? So we have most of the people have answered this question, right? So let me see. Is Arpita still number 1? Now Alinka has actually reached the top price, right? Top level this round, right? Then Arpita, then we have Vino. Wow, excellent. So I'm going to set a third question, which is about what is not true for Power Virtual Agents. Again, it's a trick question. What is not true for Power Virtual Agents? We can create chatbot without developers. We must have a flow, no code, graphical user interface, or we can access many connections. So what is not true? Let's see what is the right answer and who has answered it well. So this is easy. Let's see, check on that. Okay, so maximum people answered. So the good thing is, right, it's not true. You can do multiple, you don't need any kind of flow with this, right? Yeah. Let's see, it doesn't true, right? So flow is not required, right? That is optional, right? But other things, that creating a chatbot, creating a no graphical user interface, and access connectors, you can do. The only thing is not, that's why I put must. So this is not a true thing, right? So all 3 are correct except this one. Okay, excellent. So let's see who's doing. Oh, Vino has reached the top level now. Let's go to the 4th question for this round, and it's a multi-select, right? data connectors can connect to which types of data? The stream data set, tabular data set, functional based data set, or object oriented. Okay, stream data set, tabular, function, or object oriented. Two questions, two choices you have to go give. Okay, so these are the maybe a tricky question, but mostly for the data connectors and Power Platform, there are two different types. One is a tabular, like your Dataverse and the SharePoint specifically. Then function, right? Like there are a lot of things we can do for the functions specifically. Stream is not used and object is not used there. So it's something which we can go for this, right? So yeah. Yeah, Nalinka is doing excellent. I'm really happy that most of the people are doing answer very good. And then other thing, it's not what is not, which is not a way to build a custom connector using a black connector, using a Power Automate, Power template, open definition, or Postman collection. What are the not a way to connect a custom connector? Okay, yeah. So not a way. So all three are correct that you can use a blank connector, obviously. Open API definition is always a option when you're writing a custom connector, and Postman collection is one of the most I think most common if you want to write custom connector. There's no something called as a Power template at this point of time. So it's again to confuse you, but at least most of the people able to answer. Yeah, so let's see. And I want to see who is in the podium. Okay, let's see. So Prakhar Gupta is doing excellent. Number 3. And Jignesh, and we have one more person who is Nalinka. Excellent. Excellent. Again, runner-up NCR and Vinu, excellent job. Right. So I'm really happy. Guys, please, the people who are noting down, please note that Nilanka, Janesh, and Prakhar are into.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So please take note for our winners. Right. Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay. So something which is done. So again, there are so few trick questions are there, but if you're going for PL 900 exam, you will have these tricky questions at times. Okay, so let's go, and I'm going to move to the next one, which is called as module 2. Okay, about Dataverse. I think Nanddeep covered that one, so I'm going to start and do the same drill. I put a pin number, and then you have to just type in the pin, right? So that's what's the same drill we are doing. So the pin is for module 2 is 644, 90, and 87. Okay, so we have Uha and Venkat, Sudhir, and wow, excellent. Yeah, so yeah, so I'm wait for 10 more seconds to join in. And again, guys, you have chance to win the 1-year premium subscription from Wish Labs. Top 5 will win it, right? So I'm just to be cognizant and aware that you have chance to win something, right? Something you're not like you are all your winner could win something from here. You win something. And one more thing, that all the attendees will win 1 month premium subscription. All the attendees, right? All the attendees, right? But top 5, somebody will win, right? So let's see. So let's go and start with the module 2, which is called as a Microsoft Dataverse. Okay. And I don't know how many questions it has. 4 questions only, so easy. Yeah. Which phrase explains the connection between Dataverse and common data model? Okay, which explain connection between Dataverse and data model, right? So you just see what is the right answer, right? Meets a common data model guidelines, competes with the common data model, no relation at all, or a successor. So yeah. Okay, yeah, so this is the, yeah, I think most of the people have difficulty in this, but the right answer is that it meets the Dataverse meets the guidelines of the CDM, right? Earlier it called as the CDM, right? Common data model, right? So we are changed to the Dataverse. So it meets the guidelines, all the guidelines, right? So we are renamed. It's just renaming. It's just renaming it something else they have done. So what it does actually help you to adhere to the all your to your common data model guidelines. So you can connect to SAP, you can connect to Adobe, you can connect to any other applications, right? That is the difference. So it doesn't compete. It doesn't have actually have relation, and it's not a successor. It's no. The answer is it meet the deadline, the guidelines. Okay. So just want to get an idea. So Aladdin, yeah, excellent. As somebody answered, it's just, I will say it's a trick question here. Okay. Now Microsoft Dataverse is composed of dash and dash. Select the correct option. Categories, data, or table and columns, records, items, groups and members. So this should be a simple one. So I'm getting everyone should be able to answer. Excellent. I mean, like most of the people able to answer. So again, Aladdin is doing well. Jinesh is going up. Thank you for answering these questions. And then we have a other question. What are two possible ways to create tables, right? So what are two possible ways tables are related, right? So how we can do it? So you can see there are many ways to connect to tables, right? I think Nanddeep already showed you different ways. So I just want to answer, right? Template, many to one, many to one, many to many, many options we have. So let's see. Yeah, I think 99% people answered. So pretty this is good. Yeah, so Jinesh has doing very good. Aladdin, you have to pack up now. I have to do well now. So let's go. Who's the next? Okay. The last question for this: which section of Power Apps admin centers allow to monitor licensing and the quota? Okay. So which section? So whether it's environments, data policies, or is it data integration or tenant? So who controls this thing? So it should be a simple, I will say, simple question, not a trick one. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I think they have a mixed thing. What happens is that the environment data policies, everything is part of the admins and a part of thing, but actually controlled by your tenant. Okay, so admin center actually is part of your admin tenant, right? And tenant will have your environments, your data policy, your DLP policies, your data integrations. So the answer I thought should be a simple, but I think we have mixed questions here. So I think somebody will win this ground. Let's see who is this, and let's see what we have seen. So Jinesh is doing well. I mean, he's number 3. Putrusham is doing well, and I want to see who's the winner of this round. Again, guys, Priyesh, please help me to take note. So Nilesh is the number 1. Putrusham is number 2, and Jinesh is the number 3. Okay. Thanks, guys, for your time here. Okay. And again, there will be some trick questions in your exam. So I just want to we want to share with you that if you are going for PL 900, these questions might be there, but mostly they ask for definition. What is admin center? What things can be done, right? So it's something which you go for that. So I'm go back. I just go to the last topic. Sorry, I'm a bit over by a few minutes. Let's see. I want to go to the third, which is called as Power Apps. We have 5 questions here, and let's start the things. Okay, system drill. We start with the pin number, and the pin for round 3 is here. 306, 56, and 17. I put in chat, and you can also do it. So I will give some time I'll give some time for all the attendees to answer this. Yeah. Yes, Henry. Some guys, Henry, like a lot of people are. I said, yeah. I'm the winner. Yes, yeah. I love this thing. Love this thing. Yeah. Okay. So I think we have enough people. Let's go with the last round, and this round is about the introduction to Power Apps, right? And I think Ritika and Nanddeep covered a lot of things, right? How much coding is needed for Power Apps? This is a subjective questions, I will say, but very high amount coding, high amount, almost no code, or some kind of coding. Okay. So I want to get some thoughts on the audience, right? So I think most of the people answered, right? So in Power Apps, you can have almost no code. Again, Microsoft is pitching for no code, low code. So a bit of coding is will be there. But what have seen in the many customers, right? It could high to very high coding as well, right? Depends on your business scenario. But in general, the code in Power Apps could be low or no code, right? To make it the app slightly more functional. Okay, so let's go. So Rahul, excellent job. Aladdin, excellent to you as well. Let's go to the second question. Okay, when you're creating model-driven app, what is not defined? Okay, again, it's a trick question. What is not defined? Relationships, views, size, or forms? Yeah. So yeah. Size, obviously, because when you're working on the model-driven app, why is model-driven? Because they have a lot of components. One of the components is relationships, views, and forms. Size is never defined, right? So we never work on the size for the model-driven app, right? You can have any kind of size. Okay, so again, it's a trick question. Then we know, excellent. So I'm winner. You are still second. Please, let's see what we can do here. So let's go to the third question, which is called as which of the following AI model are most helpful to identify and pulling in information from images of invoices? Okay, prediction, object, form processor, or text classification. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, this could be a mix of this, but what mostly common for the AI model, we have something of from processing AI inbuilt model through which you can have your results, your the test results, or your images, invoices, everything can be done using from processing, right? These other two are not applicable because the question is about identify and pulling from the images. Okay, so something which we can go for this. Let's want to see Purushottam did the right, and Hari, wow, Hari is doing excellent. He has answered all three questions, but again, it's a faster finger. Then again, when you use the Canvas app, what is the best option, right? When you use Canvas app? Okay, when you're using Dataverse, when you're using from scratch, from data model, how we can do it. So different model we can do. So Canvas app is again a blank. Blank could be some template, but what is the best option, right? Which we have seen from a few of the customers. Now again a subjective thing because is which I feel it that you can have a thing from the Dataverse, but not all the people have a license for that. You can have from other devices. That is true as well. But what is seen from when you actually want to build an app, you don't use using a template. You from the scratch. You can build from different data sources. You can use SharePoint. You can use Dataverse. You can use your SAP or Salesforce. So the best option using that from scratch is much easier and you have better options there. Okay. So let's go for that, and then we see who is the thing. So Naveen is doing well. Let me go to the who is Okay, one more question, sorry. Right? How the Power Apps different from the Canvas app? How it differs? So again, Ritika's topic. Let's see what people answered. You must be authenticated. You allow for the website. You must have Dataverse, or you must have the code-based solution. Right. So the answer is obviously, which people know, is about the creating the website, authenticate. You don't need authentications, which Ritika mentioned. You don't need authentication. You can create a public anonymous site as well. Right. So that is the right answer. And let's go to the person Aditya. Very good, Aditya. And we have Naveen again. Naveen, you're doing excellent. And I want to see the winner. Who's the winner today? Abhijit. Drum rolls, drum rolls. Thanks. So, Priyesh, we have 3 people. Abhijit, number 1, Naveen,
Yes.
second, and Aditya, please. Please take note, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks,
Looking to the capture.
everyone. And what is the next topic, Priyesh? I think we have going for break, is it? We have next speaker, is it now?
Hello.
Yeah, next up we have a session and then we will have our lunch break.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
I
correct.
think,
So yeah,
I think, can we give 5 minutes of break, because
5
I
minutes
think
break.
someone
Okay.
pinged 15 minutes break time, actually, this one. Maybe can we delay for 5 minutes?
Yeah, I
Because
think people will have some time, right? So,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, we give some time for the audience to digest. So many things are there. So let's take a break for 5 minutes
Yeah,
and we
5
resume
minutes
it.
break.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I saw ping from Prashant also.
Hmm.
He's asking, we have 15 minutes break. So
Yeah.
basically, at least let's give 5 minutes of break. Maybe we can delay. We delayed 5 minutes. We can extend 5 minutes more. It's
Yeah.
fine.
So, guys, please.
Yeah, you go to washroom, water, anything.
Yeah,
Just
you take a
break.
break, have a coffee,
Yeah.
talk to your friends. It's Saturday, talk to your friends, your family, right? And we resume it in 5 minutes time.
Yep.